Okay, this is an update for the Google Maps course or Google Plus local course regarding Axiom. And if you are not familiar with what Axiom is, if you've been through our course, you know it's one of the providers that we recommend that you use for citations. And the URL constantly changes, so it's possible this URL is no longer if you watch this video a few months from now, this URL might not be accurate anymore. But this is currently where you submit a new business or update your business listing to Axiom. databyAxiom.com/small-businesses.html. And you can just update your business listing by clicking this button. Now they've been strict for a while. If you know, but they've gotten even more strict. I'm going to talk about it in a second, but just so you know how they are one of the more strict providers. It's nice if you get your stuff submitted to Axiom because your citations can end up all over the place. If you look at this search ecosystem screenshot from Moz, you can see over here Axiom provides some pretty provides data to some big players, including Google Plus Local. You can see this line right here, and then as an indirect feed, they also provide to a lot of players. If I scroll down a bit, you can see where he's broken down. They're providing data to Superpages, YP.com, Google Local, the little apple there, and geo directories, vertical directories, and then indirectly some of these other providers. The only difficulty with Axiom is that they require quite a bit of information before you submit your listing, and your business name and your address have to match all the documents that you submit. They ask for a federal tax license letter, business license or sales tax license, a DBA license, fictitious name registration, and these kind of things might be fine, but if you're doing work for a business that has these things, but some businesses don't have this stuff, and they still might have enough money to hire you as a consultant, or you might be the business owner and you might not have all the documentation. So Axiom is getting harder and harder. Recently, they've even made things more difficult. Here's an error you might get if you try to submit multiple businesses through Axiom. There was an error processing your request IP address already used by another user. So let's say you have multiple users and you're submitting multiple businesses as clients, your own clients, or maybe you just have multiple businesses, or maybe you're more on the gray hat, black hat side, and you're submitting a bunch of fictitious businesses to get listed in Google Maps. Whatever the reason is, Axiom is now tracking IP addresses. So even though I know we used to recommend Axiom, I still do recommend it if you don't mind jumping through all their hoops, but you really don't need to do Axiom. You don't need to freak out if you can't get your stuff submitted to Axiom. A lot of people are having trouble, and I've even heard of people getting a message from Axiom saying, if you're a marketer, in other words, if you're like a consultant doing marketing services for clients and you're trying to do activity for your clients on Axiom, you need to have a paid account. So they're getting more and more strict. If you have clients, you might have trouble. You might actually need to go to their place of business to submit their information, because if you do everything from your office IP address or your home office IP address, you could end up with a error like this coming from Axiom. Now, good news though, there are other options for you that are pretty easy, whether you're on the black hat side or the white hat side of the equation. ExpressUpdateUSA.com is the current, and obviously they always change the URLs, so if you have trouble finding where to submit, you can always post in the forum here, and we can help you with that. But Express Update USA is currently where you submit to info group, and this will get you in a lot of places. You can see you can bulk upload, you can submit a new business here, and all they require is a phone verification, and you can phone verify right away. So the way we do this is we use Twilio plus sort of like an OpenVBX installation, and that way we can easily switch where the phone numbers are pointing, and we just point them to our own phones here, like submit to infousa or info group. It'll instantly ask for a phone verification. You phone verify, you type in the code, and then you switch the number back to either your client or wherever that number is supposed to be going, and let info group do the citations for you. And that's really all infousa requires to submit. And again, bringing up the Moz, a local search ecosystem, you can see that if you get into info group, your reach is very broad, and even some of the places like Superpages and YP.com that Axiom submits to, you will end up in by submitting to info group. You also end up in some pretty big names here: the Bing, Google Plus Local, Twitter, Yahoo Local, City Search, MapQuest, TomTom, YellowBot. So this is a pretty good reach here. You're going to end up just by submitting to info group, and again, with that, all you need to do is phone verify. So if you're doing the Black Hat side, this will be where you want to submit. And then there's a new player here, Factual, which is pretty easy to submit to as well. And you can see, actually, the nice thing is, if you notice down here, Apple, these vertical directories, Bing, these are some of the ones that Axiom was submitting to, but now you can get through just by submitting to Factual. And you can currently, they might switch their site, but if you just go to factual.com, you should be able to find the place where you submit your new business. But currently, you can just go to factual.com, and then if you look all the way over here on the right, get started and add a business, and Factual will get you, so it is also free to submit to Factual. So really, between Factual and infousa, especially for those black hatters out there that are really doing a lot of listings and don't necessarily have a legitimate business address for each listing, Factual and infousa, I would make those your first stop, because you're going to get a lot of reach there just by submitting to a couple of these main providers, these big players. The nice thing about Factual too is they have an API, so if you want to develop tools to actually submit directly through the API, you could do that too. Get a developer to do that for you. So, but yeah, I would just recommend you just add a business this way by clicking Get Started and add a business to Factual and to infousa or Express Update USA. That'll get you really far. Again, with Axiom, only if you've got a business that has all that documentation are you going to be able to utilize their service. It doesn't cost you anything to submit to Axiom, but you got to jump through a lot of hoops. Also, they track your IP address with Axiom, so be careful there as well. But yeah, my current recommendation is for just, if you're looking for the best use of your time, and you don't have easy access to that kind of documentation like a business license and stuff for the business you're submitting, just go to Factual and infousa, and you're going to get pretty far with those two.